Moment is a complete invoicing solution that helps you get paid for your work. Whether you need to ship your invoices electronically, by email, or good old-fashioned post, Moment lets you draft, edit, and send invoices in a matter of seconds. Before you can send an invoice, you'll want to have something to bill. Whether that's hourly fees, fixed price fees, expenses, products, or subscription fees. You can of course create invoices from scratch and add invoice lines manually, but we do recommend that you use projects and price models as the basis for your invoices. When you're invoicing fixed prices, simply add a new payment to the payment plan with a title, issue date, and amount. The title of the installment will become the text on the invoice itself. You can always edit this later or override it in the final invoice. Hit save and your installment is ready to be invoiced. When you're invoicing hourly fees, the title of the invoice line depends on the invoice settings and can, for example, be the name of the employees, the name of the activities, or something else you decide to name the invoice line. If you'd like to separate price models into different invoices, you can select Invoice separately at the bottom of each price model. It's also possible to invoice activities separately. Whenever there's fees to be invoiced, they'll show up in To Be Invoiced, either on the project itself, under Project Management, or here under Finances. The filter to the right lets you decide which invoice basis is shown in the list. In other words, the projects and price models with something to invoice within the selected period. You can also limit the list to specific projects, customers, tags, and so forth. Click the invoice basis to get a more detailed view. Here you'll get an invoice summary, and you'll immediately see the total budget of the price model, how much has been invoiced before, and how much is left to invoice. If you're basing the invoice on hours worked, either hourly rate or fixed rate, it's ideal to have the timesheets be logged and the hours approved, so that you can be confident that no more time records or alterations will be made after invoicing. Now you're all set to create the draft. Click Create Draft Invoice from Selection, and the invoice draft has now been created. It's not sent yet, and you can still make changes to it. Now that the draft is ready, you can go ahead and make final changes and approve the draft before sending it to your customer. If you want to add or change text, click Edit. Here you'll see all the information that has been added from the project, and you can add additional info such as references, invoice text, and so on. All these fields can be predefined in invoice settings in the project. If you have specific texts that should be added to all invoices, this can be defined in the global settings. It's possible to give project managers the ability to draft invoices, but not the ability to finalize and send them. This lets project managers, who typically know the fine details of each project, create the drafts, and then have a controller do the final quality control before sending the invoices to customers. Click Finalize and Send to make the draft into a final invoice and send it to the customer. If the customer supports electronic invoicing, you can send it directly to their invoice system. If they don't, you can send it as an email. Any recipient you've added to the customer file will show up here, but you can also manually add an email address. After invoices are sent, you most likely want to register payment. Moment supports automatic payment registration through OCR, but you can also register payment manually. In the invoice report, you'll see all invoices ever sent, their details, and their current status. As always, you can use the filter setting on the right side to limit the selection. To register payment of an invoice, simply click New Payment on the invoice line and add the relevant information before you hit Save. The invoice now changes status to paid. For overdue invoices, it can be necessary to send payment reminders. Go to Finances, Payment Reminders to see all overdue invoices. To send a reminder, simply select one or more invoices by ticking their checkboxes and then click the Send button. You can decide if this is the first or second reminder, and both define and overwrite the payment reminder text. Hit Send Emails to send as many reminders as you want in one go. Invoicing in Moment is very easy and straightforward, and lets you draft, approve, and send invoices in no time. With automatic payment registration and very simple payment reminders, you ensure correct project account and liquidity in your business. Also, using one of Moment's many integrations, all relevant invoice information can be exported to your accounting system of choice.